Jesus has been one of the most influential figures throughout history. Some, however, have thought that he didn't really exist. So the question arises, did Jesus exist? This is Historically. Let's first state a fact. The vast majority of modern scholarship, including atheist and agnostic scholars, agrees that Jesus existed, and the minority that doesn't is hardly taken seriously in this field. Furthermore, of all those who deny Jesus' existence, only a few have a specialization in the field involving history of Christianity. This, however, doesn't constitute as an argument, so let's consider what data we have to assert the historical reliability of the existence of Jesus. First, we have Paul's letters. Actually, scholars don't agree about the genuine nature of all of the 13 letters, but 7 of them are accepted by everyone, so we're taking them into account. Now, the earliest letter Paul wrote is 1 Thessalonians, written in 49 AD. In this letter we have the main elements of Jesus' life, such as his death, the account about his resurrection, and the expectations about his coming. What can we infer from this writing? Well, at least the following. 1. Paul had already been in Thessalonica and founded a Christian community there, which means 2. Christianity had already spread not only in Palestine, but also outside of it, which means 3. At least a portion of Christendom had already found a solution for the issue of the conversion of pagans into Christianity without passing through Judaism. These events needed at least 10 years to occur, so we know that already in 39 AD, while most contemporaries of Jesus still were alive, people were speaking of Jesus. Furthermore, in another of his epistles, Paul also states that 1. He converted before the death of King Aretas, that is, before 40 AD, and that 2. Before becoming a Christian, he persecuted the Christian community for an indeterminate period of time. This means that even before 40 AD, Christians were around, and before 40 AD, they already preached that he died on the cross and risen from the dead. Now, why is this important? Because the Jews didn't expect the Messiah to suffer on a cross, nor do they believe it now. So if anyone invented Jesus, why inventing also this horrible condemnation? Paul himself declares how it is hard to preach a dying and rising Saviour without being mocked. Besides, since it was a public execution, why don't we have any record whatsoever of Christianity's enemies denying this event to have occurred at all? Along with Paul, we have the 4 Gospels. Well, kinda. The first 3 Gospels aren't independent from each other. Rather, Matthew and Luke took most of their material from Mark, so we can only take Mark into account. Along with this, however, we also have Q. What is Q, you may wonder? Well, I didn't explain it before. Why? Because I didn't think of it. Let's save it for another video. Then we have the Gospel of John that seems to be independent from the others. So we have Mark, Q and John. And what can we infer from these sources? Well, along with the normal data we've already mentioned, that is death by crucifixion and the claims by his followers that he risen from the dead, we have a bunch of sayings that are ascribed to him, and determining the historicity of even one of those sayings is hard. Really hard. Believe me, those who know how hard it is would rather prefer to teach a bunch of outrageous Dobermans infected with rabies to dance wearing a pink tutu and singing John Lennon's Imagine, rather than having to study just one more saying. But some of them are generally accepted as historical, so we have a guy that responds to a general identikit coinciding with the man described in the Bible. An objection may arise. Don't all of these sources derive from the Bible? Well, the Bible is not one single book, anyways it wasn't. The canon of the New Testament as we know it arose around the end of the 4th century and wasn't accepted universally until much later. But the sources themselves were written in different places, different times, and by different authors. It'd be like dismissing the info we get from ancient historians because some editor decided to put them into one single collection. Like this video, keep updated by subscribing to our channel and hitting the bell button to receive notifications about new videos here on Historically.